evening again, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening.
What a wonderful time it is this year, holiday year. The first thing I'd like to do is make sure we have uncounted everyone here for the agenda today. Chili, you just came in, and you're Mr. Chili Day. I'm glad you made it. You are our timer. So we'll give a moment for you to get things set up. Also, everyone who is giving a speech, Mildred, you've given Sheila, you're our first speaker today. Does Mildred have your speech?
Yes, she has my book.
Daniel?
Yes.
Great. And Roz, Monique has your book. That's what you guys are so professional. And Linda, Kevin. Well, thank you. We can just move right along. Well, while we're waiting for our timer, Gemma, we're going to start a little Christmas carol because it's Christmas time.
You're missing someone on the agenda. Our counter and grammarian.
We have Deborah has stepped in to be our counter and our grammarian. Deborah, no, Mr. Eisenberg.
Okay, the word of the day that I decided right now is grateful.
Grateful.
And you all know what that means, so I won't give you a definition. So you want to use grateful as many times as you can in the correct context, because it is the time of year. We should all be thankful for this.
Yes.
And also on the off counter, so I have a dual role. I'm going to be looking for you to use grateful, and I'm going to be I'm going to be listening intently to your speech. And if you say and you know, and so all of those little crutch words I'll be looking for to remind you.
Thank you, Ms. Deborah. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our general evaluator, Ms. Terry Gordon.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters and friends. As general evaluator, I will be evaluating the meeting, and I will be looking for things that you want to do or may be able to do and try to help you and guide you in that aspect. My evaluation team, well, we have already talked about them, and they've already been introduced. So I will thank you, and I'll be back.
All right. Thank you. Okay, we are ready to get the evening started, but let's just have a little Christmas spirit first. Let's all just start by saying, Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
Thank you. I love to say that. Just like brightens up a little, puts a smile on someone's face. Just to know that you are that intended, whether you finished your shopping or not, whether you're broke, unemployed, whatever it is. But when you just say it with energy, it's received with energy. Okay? Let's get started with Sheila Houston. Our evaluator is going to be Mildred, who is going to come up and she's going to explain the number of speech that Sheila will be doing and what she's going to be looking for, what the expectations are for the particular speech that Sheila will be addressing this evening.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Greetings, everyone. As an evaluator for Ms. Sheila Houston tonight, it already seems she's very well prepared. Just a little information about Sheila. She is a teacher in San Bernardino and a member of the San Bernardino Teachers Association Board of Directors. Now, doesn't that sound important?
Very.
She is an advocate for teachers and students and wants to move up in the CTA California, and that's California Teachers Association. Tonight, Sheila will be presenting Project 6, which deals with vocal variety. And we, each of us who have had an opportunity and the pleasure of hearing Ms. Sheila Houston knows for sure that she's already been practicing vocal variety on us. So tonight, I think we are in for an even larger and special treat as we listen to vocal variety and complete her Project 6. Her time tonight will be 5 to 7 minutes. And I prefer for you to just listen to see what a presentation that deals with vocal variety includes. Thank you.
Five, 6, 7.
5 to 7. Okay, thank you. When I was a young girl, I was what you would call a military brat. That means my father was in the Air Force and we traveled a lot. So when we went to the different schools in different states, it was kind of hard. Because when we went from a California school to maybe, let's say, a Texas school, we were ahead of the students. And vice versa, we went from a Texas school to maybe a California school, we were sometimes behind. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. Today I am going to talk about a newspaper article that I read that kind of infuriated me. It talked about that Californians voted that they wanted teachers' reviews to become public. Now, did you hear what I said? I said that they said that Californians voted that they wanted teachers' reviews to be public. Wait a minute. Can anybody raise their hand if they were able to vote for that? I think I'm a Californian. I didn't know what he asked me. Did anybody ask any of you? Are you a Californian? But they said Californians voted to get teachers' reviews be public. Well, I'm all for transparency and all, and being transparent. They said 6 out of 10 voters said that they wanted teachers to become transparent and accountable for their students' scores. And I agree. I agree that teachers need to be transparent. And I agree their scores need to be public. But let's not stop there. While you're putting the teacher's name out there in the public, let's publish the students' names also. Okay? So if you're going to put my name out there and make me transparent, let's make the parents transparent also. If you're going to put my name, Ms. Houston, out there, along with my name, put my students' names alongside my name. That way we can really be transparent. You want me to be accountable? Let's make the parents accountable. What do you say? What do you mean by that, Sheila? Every time a student misses a day of school, or gets suspended, or maybe get expelled, have time out in another teacher's classroom. Spend 10, 15 minutes going to the restroom. Let's make that public. Put their names out there, not just my name. Because if corporate America has their way, my paycheck is going to be docked if my students don't make proficient or advanced on the state test. So if they want to dock my paycheck, why don't we dock the parents? Last time I spoke with you, I told you about my class makeup. I said in my class, I have some students that have parents who don't speak any English. I told you that my class makeup has students that have very little money or very little resources. And I also have students who have very low reading or very low comprehension skills. They tell me, as a teacher, and as a highly qualified teacher, that should not be an excuse. All of my students should be able to reach proficient by the end of the school year. If I can't use that as an excuse, then nobody should be able to use that as an excuse. Not parents, administration, or me. When they did the vote, they said 1,500 out of what? Maybe 225, about 25 million Californians voted? Oh, that doesn't seem significant to me. I don't know where they got the 1,500 from. The 1,500 people said they wanted to make me transparent or significant or accountable for my students. I say no more excuses. No more excuses. If my students are RSP, what is RSP? Those are the resource specialist program students that have to have special resources just to make it in the regular classroom. Or they may have learning disability or be special ed. No more excuses because the parents don't speak English in the home and they have no help with their homework. No more excuses. No more excuses because Juan Carlos missed a month of school in the beginning because mom and dad decided to go to Mexico for vacation. That affects our test scores, and it happens every year. 2 to 3 of my students miss the first month of school because they go to Mexico for vacation. No more excuses. I feel if they want to attach my paycheck, why don't we cut the parents' income tax or welfare check? If Juan Carlos misses 5 days of school without a doctor's excuse, why don't we cut welfare or the state income tax? I think that's really fair. The test scores are already public. We have our API, which is an academic performance index. It measures the academic performance of the school growth. And we have our AYP, which is the adequate yearly progress. It just doesn't have the teacher's name attached to it. So I say, yes, I agree. We all need to be transparent and accountable. But at the end of the article, mainly the people were saying they were just basically wanting to see that we have more parent involvement, reducing class size, and more money to the struggling schools. And this is what it all is about, isn't it? Really. Don't you agree, Madam Toastmaster?
I enjoyed learning. It was very informative. Very informative. I know I used to be a teacher and I would not want to have to deal with the transparency. It isn't fair. So thank you for your presentation. It's wonderful. Okay. Now we have our next evaluator, which is our president right now, Monique Lynn.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I have a great
pleasure of being the evaluator for my very first time of Ms. Rosalind Carter, better known to us all as Roz. She joined Toastmasters in 2005 to reignite her passion for personal growth. She's earned a bachelor's degree at the age of 50. Talk about accomplishment. And has enjoyed growth in Toastmasters. She's currently serving as our Lieutenant Governor of Education and Training. Tonight, she's going to be speaking on my past, present, and future.
Time.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. What do we do when we have to reflect on our past, when we have to sit and think a moment, what are we doing in the present state of where we are, no matter what it might be? And then the gigantic idea of what we might want to do in the future. I am so grateful for all three, because these three things represent a pillar for me. I could say that I am grateful for my past because of the way my parents raised me. Do you ever think about your past and how it molded and shaped you to the type of person you are today? I think about when I was very little. I have 4 other siblings, and I'm the second born. And I was considered the feisty one. My older sister was the crybaby. And every time there was an event, including her own birthday party, she'd be sitting on Papa's lap, crying, because all of these people were looking at her and providing all this attention, which she was too embarrassed to look at them in the eye. So here comes Rosie as I was known, and I'd say, why are you crying, Queen? Who hurt you? And then I was ready to go defend her. Now that was a different kind of molding and shaping, because some of you know me now and I'm no way like that. But I needed that trait for my past because of the way things happened in the South, in New Orleans, where we were challenged with the civil rights movement and black versus white, and you can only go up to this counter to get some food to eat or up in the balcony to watch a movie. You couldn't even go get popcorn in the concession stands because I came up in the area where there was color or white. In New Orleans, Louisiana, they also had a culture right in the center of that for people called Creole. And so with the Creoles, depending on what shade you were, sometimes they thought you were white. Or maybe your hair might have been an indication that you were really colored. Now, we transplanted to California, and let's fast forward about 10 years. And approaching California was supposed to be freedom, no racism, no bigotry, no anything. And so my present state, I was not too grateful about what we learned because people looked at us and said, ¿Cómo está? And the little country bumpkins everywhere, we said, huh? What you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. We didn't know Spanish, but people thought we were. So our present state evolved into shyness, withholding, where we thought we fit in and didn't quite. Fast forward 10 more years, and now I'm in college. I managed to make it through all of those frustrating moments, and I was shaped into a person who was not going to let anybody tell me what to do. So in college, there were some people who were saying, why are you here? You don't belong here. Well, guess where I was, of all places? Helena, Montana. How I ended up there is another speech. But I get on the plane with a coat because I'm thinking Montana's cold, snow. I get out there and it's 108 degrees in September, and I was not prepared for everything else that occurred. But one of the things that taught me to be who I am today, and I'll bring you to today, is in those times, there was no such thing as sneaking and cheating. You had to do what the teacher said, or they were going to put you out. And I don't want to be lost in Helena, Montana, without any family or friends or people like me, and feel lost. So I decided to grow out of that feeling and stand up for myself and said, you know, I'm going to finish college, I'm going to do the right thing, I'm going to be a great mom, I'm going to be a great employee, and I'm going to be a great person, because all of the things that I had learned from childhood to college shaped me. The present Rosalind is full of fun. The present Rosalind enjoys family. And the present Rosalind enjoys friendship. Family has come a long way. I've shared with some of you what I went through during those trying moments in growing up, how I had to give up a child for adoption. And 36 years later, she found me. That brought such an impact into my life. I trudged along trying to be somebody and be someone that other people wanted me to be until Taya came back in my life. And yes, I was married and I had 2 other children. But now the whole picture is complete. The fun is really fun. We can tease each other. I could still take up for my sister because she's so crappy. But the rest of Rosalind has been evolved. And what is most important to me right now is friendship. Friendship through work, through church, and through this organization we call Toastmasters. Where else can we find all 3 that evolves us and perfects us and shapes us as iron sharpens iron to be the best we can be? My past, present, and future is standing before you as a Toastmaster.
That was awesome. Thank you for sharing. Okay, we're in the retreat. Our next evaluator is going to introduce our last speaker. Great.
I will be doing an eval for, I'm actually using a window right here, and she's a member of the, she's a member of the Black Chamber of Commerce, she's also a charter member, and she's actually the founder of our club, and she's a community activist, or a gold communicator going, or silver president, or CEO, founder of Rainier Valley Black Chamber of Commerce, a mother of 3, and she has four grandchildren, and her name of her speech is "On My Way to the King," or a place in a dungeon, and it's 5 to 7 minutes, and her objectives are entertaining the alliance by relating a personal experience, modernized, and entertaining speech or maximum impact.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
How are you doing this evening? On my way to the King Palace in the dungeon. This is a story, a biblical story. This time of year, we have our season to be jolly, peaceful, love, and all those things. The Bible itself is an inspiration. This story is about Joseph. Joseph was the youngest son and the lineage of Jacob, but the youngest son of Israel. He had other sons, and he was the youngest, only 17 years old. His job was to tend to the sheep. Some of us are guilty when we have our baby or the youngest, we give more attention to them, but sometimes cause the other siblings to be evil, envy, and do evil things to the baby when no one is around. I'm the baby of my family, so I know. I was told not to go in the candy jar around Christmas time. I don't know any. I'm from the South. We used to have these big old candy canes and, you know, spiritual type candy, and we break it with a rock and put it in the candy bowl. So my mother told them to watch me. Don't let me go in the candy bowl. So every time I try to go, they will spank my hand, my siblings. And I finally got tired of them, and I caught them in the bedroom, or a room, and then I went in my mother's room and locked the door and ate the whole bowl. I was sick. I was sick. So the youngest sometimes is the favorite because you have to kind of baby them. Some people do that. So Israel favored this child because not only in his spirit, he felt this child was something special. So he made him a coat of many colors. And he didn't know why he made that coat, but he was inspired. This coat, the fabric you see on the floor, has many colors, represent many nations. And it will come to order of play that you will understand what I'm talking about, the nations. They envied, his siblings envied him so terribly because he woke up one morning and had a vision, a dream. The dream was that while he's tending to the sheep and they grazing the grass, other sheep around came, and that was the brother's sheep, and he said, but their sheep bow down to his sheep. And they say, you crazy. You think our sheep, you better than us? Who you think you're going to rule over us? So they hated him. They really got to the past envy to hate. He said, yes, this is my dream. He said, oh, you foolishness, etc. So the next dream came to him, a vision, that the sun and the moon and the 11 stars, mom, dad, and the children, bow down to him. So when he told Israel, the father, he, recommended. He told him stop all this foolishness and all this, was upset with him. Joseph was being informed of his future, but not knowing what it meant. So I think later on, he just said, I'll keep it to myself, but the brothers had already decided, we're going to get rid of this boy. He's getting on my nerves. And Dad gave him all the attention. This coat she didn't make me one of those coats. So with that said, they plotted when they go to feed the sheep again, they was going to slay him. Actually hated him that bad to kill him. So Reuben, one of the older brothers, said, no, we don't want the blood on our hands. So we are going to put him down a pit and say that he got eaten by a wild animal. And we got there too late. So that's what they did, and they took the coat off him, tore it, and put some blood on it to try to prove to Israel that's what happened. Oh, Israel was so hurt because he felt like he should have been there when that particular thing happened. The brothers sold him for 20 pieces of silver to a person going to Egypt. And that's when his life started changing. 20 pieces of silver, and then he got close to the king's palace, but not that close. So he was in the dungeon, and before he was in the dungeon, he had a position from the captain of Pharaoh, Potiphar. And then because of that position, this is what happened. The king's wife saw Joseph as handsome, and he knew that she was plotting something. She wanted him to lie down in bed with her, but he was so grateful of his position that he dared not do so. So what happened was, she tried to pursue him, and when she ran away from him and left his coat in his hand. He said, one night of, you know, I was going to say victory, love, would destroy my whole life, and it's not worth it, so I'm going to run. He fled. Fast forward, he got thrown in the dungeon because the king believed his wife, but really knew Joseph was honest as well. While he was in the dungeon, he met 3 different people, and he interpreted his dream. Not only was he a dreamer, he was an interpreter, and he told them what would happen to them. So when they got to he told them, don't forget, when you see the king, tell them about me. Oh, they forgot. The last one did tell him, the king, about him. The king had a dream, and he was concerned about this dream. So therefore, he was puzzled, and that's how it came out. With him telling him about his dream, and all the things interpreted, he wound up being the administrator of the king from the dungeon to kingship. He became the administrator with a very nice coat. And he planned this meal for his brothers, and he got his brothers and his family back together because he made sure the famine would not only feed the palace, it fed many nations, the whole world. Thank you.
We were today to hear such awesome speeches from each and every person. I'm thankful I was here tonight. I'm very grateful, truly grateful that I got to hear about family and then be informed about education, and then from there to go and show you how they all correlate together. All those speeches, really, if you think about it, we're together. So thank you. Well, now it is time for our vote.